Today's video is brought to you by this really good grilled ham and cheese sandwich I made the other day. Thank you for watching.
You know, after the last book, I had hoped for something a little more lighthearted, but I guess I'm not so lucky. I originally bought this book because I was raised LDS, and so I know, the terms and the different scenarios and stuff, and I'm also kind of into true crime and cults and stuff, so we got a nice little slice at the middle of that Venn diagram. Something positive. When Men Become Gods by Stephen Singular is a book about Warren Jeffs, the former FLDS leader, and it talks about his rise to power, the time he spent in total control, and then when he went on the run and had to eventually be arrested and his conviction. We mostly follow a private investigator as he's looking into the different crimes committed in the tiny little FLDS communities, but we also get some glimpses of different women who have left the FLDS community and how they were able to leave, why they left, and just their experiences as well. One thing that I have to give this book credit for is that the author put a lot of work into trying to figure out why Warren Jeffs is the way he is, why he had such command, why he so desperately wanted power, which is really interesting. And then the author also looks at the different puzzle pieces that had to fall perfectly into place for Warren Jeffs to have the complete control that he did have. Is it puzzle pieces or dominoes that fall? Yeah, opinions. Like I said, I'm very familiar with Mormonness, which is really interesting because as I was reading this, it gave off a vibe that the intended audience was 40% people unfamiliar with LDS stuff, and then 60% people who are familiar with LDS stuff, you know? The terminology used and the explanation for the different practices that are used within both the LDS and the FLDS communities, the overlaps that they do have, are really only mostly understandable if you have that certain level of understanding, if you're more or less in the loop of Mormon culture. Plus, every now and again, the author would throw in a paragraph or a sentence or two saying that the LDS Church should have done more for this splinter group from over 100 years ago that they had already completely disavowed. But that's whatever. Did I like this book? No. No, I did not. And it's not because it's kind of anti-LDS adjacent, but it wasn't very interesting, honestly. The way Stephen Singular wrote this, it's obvious he did a bunch of interviews with a bunch of people, and he would just kind of give a synopsis of interviews, but it wasn't very good synopses that he gave. And part of me wishes he would just be like, and I spoke with this person, and this person said this, you know? Anyway, and then would I read this again? Let's see, I didn't enjoy it. No, I'm not going to read this again. So, off to the bookstore it goes. Who you want to come hang out? All right, Mr. Goo, you want to help me? What's the next? I'm not looking. What is the next book we're going to read? 1984. You know, I'm going to get a more positive book. Don't you agree, Mr. Goosef? I'm going to get a more positive book. And Frank. I need to invest in positive books, Goober. The media I intake is far too negative. Animal Farm, are you... You know what? I'm gonna read the Alana series. It's one of the series I grew up reading. It's very cute. It's about a girl who wants to be a knight, and so she becomes one. And also there's magic. And that is that.